So I don't have my center vision. I only have my peripheral. In the beginning, it was really tough for me to understand. And I mean, to this day, it's still a battle every day. But David Goggins is one of the people that really helped me out in the darkest time of my life. Through that moment, when I lost my sight 2 years ago, I fell into depression, anxiety, super bad. I coped with alcohol.
Just thinking about it, bro, imagine walking in darkness, bro.
And how did you process all that anger and all those emotions?
Ya está, podcast, boy. Ya estás, no vuelvo para atrás, libre del Alcatraz, en la guerra tengo paz. Mis metralletas es la oración y adoración, salvación para mi nación, manifestar el reino es la meta. Puesta la armadura, que las criaturas andan duras de la dimensión oscura, mi alma se apresura.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Ya Estás Podcast. Man, where we're building a culture of transparency, yo, because we want to keep it 100, want to be authentic.
We want to see you naked with your thoughts.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how I set that up?
I like that. Yo, but man, we need to get it going so we can get the best of the time. And right now, man, this brother came to the
Rescue, bro.
Oh,
Facts.
straight up. So we want to thank
Gracias a Cristian.
God, the way Chris making it happen. But yo, let's give a warm welcome to our brother Diego from San Diego.
San Diego.
Guys, I appreciate y'all. Much
All
love.
right, welcome. Oh, thanks for ¿cómo se dice?
Taking the time?
No, saving us.
Yeah, thank you, of course. I'm here anytime.
All right, man.
Serve.
Well, appreciate that, bro. And we want to dive into your story, man. How was your upbringing, your family dynamic?
Right.
What part, which hood, if you...
Yeah, of course. 100%. Not from no hood, but definitely grew up in the hood.
All right. That's good.
This was more of the outcast of one of those, when I was young, say I lived a pretty tough childhood due to my my family. They came from a pretty hard environment and a tough life. But actually, 2 years ago, I got diagnosed with a genetic disease that impacted me, that affects my mitochondria, which is, I'm not sure if you guys know what the mitochondria is. I didn't know what it was, but the mitochondria is basically the powerhouse of the cells. But that's basically what's messed up. The way they explain it to me is the Ethernet cable from the eye to the brain. And that's what affects my visual, my sight. So I don't have my center vision. I only have my peripheral. But that's what has allowed me to really challenge myself and really better myself, surprisingly. In the beginning, it was really tough for me to understand. And I mean, to this day, it's still a battle every day. But I do understand it. God has allowed me to, they say, when where there's a will, there's a way, and I had to find that in the darkest time of my life. And through that moment, when I lost my sight 2 years ago, I fell into depression, anxiety, super bad. I coped with alcohol. My They say alcohol can be passed down through generations, which I am kind of controversial on that, because I feel like there's always a deeper meaning to why we cope with certain substances. And in this case, I coped with alcohol, and I basically got very depressed and anxious, and I started drinking that's what the doctors had said a little bit after I had already went through that process. She was like, "You're gonna go through denial and anger." And in the beginning, I was going through denial. I was still trying to live my life, going out on the weekends, trying to push it to the side, like everything's gonna be okay. And little by little, I started going through anger, and then I started coping with it, and then I went into super depressive mode. I started drinking heavily into depression and just crying every day and saying like, "Why, God? Like, why is this happening to me?" And but through that moment, I basically one day I woke up, and a friend of mine, he took me to the ER. My liver was failing, and I drank a bottle of tequila for 3 days straight. I like tequila, but I mean, now I overcame that challenge, and I've been sober for 2 years now,
Oh,
which
yes.
is, yeah, a blessing. And I always tell people, like, I don't think I would ever have reached my potential where I'm at now if it wasn't for me to stop drinking. So God works in mysterious ways, and I think that's what really surprises me. But yeah, so I had to get to that zone where I was at ground rock bottom. And they also another saying, that a great saying is, your foundation is what's really important, and God is my rock, he's my foundation. So I feel like when I was at rock bottom, that's when my foundation was being built. And through that process, when I came back from the hospital, I had a good friend of mine. He's a commander in the Navy. His name is Josh. But he mentioned to me, and he needed to hear it from somebody that I kind of looked up to. And he told me, he's like, it's either going to make you stronger, or it's going to make you weaker. And also, there was a couple other people in the influential world that really helped me, because I was in a moment and I needed somebody to tell me, like, to not victimize myself, to get up. And I was in the military priorly. I was in the Army from 2014 to 2018.
Thanks for your service, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I was an infantryman, so at times, you know, um, I was a fallout. At times, we'd run and we had to do we had to do PT and stuff like that. When I got out of boot camp, I was physically fit, but it's really our own responsibility to maintain our physical fitness. But in the military, it's high stress. It's very difficult, and so I fell off of fitness in a way. And then at times I'd fall out. But when I came to this moment of my life where in disparity and like I had to change myself, I remembered I needed that fuel, and I was like, I used to run in the Mojave Desert. Like, if I could do it then, I could do it now. And like, but David Goggins is one of the people that really helped me out.
Yeah.
David Goggins, I mean, I heard his and I feel like people, God speaks through vessels. So I mean, God is my rock, and these people aren't my idols, but they're very much well people that have really influenced me in the correct way. And basically, what he was just telling me is, get your butt up and stop crying and stop victimizing yourself and go do something. And I just met a girl today. She had a stroke a month ago, and she had told me too, like, where there's a will, there's a way. We have a choice. And then there's these great sayings, but they have so much power to them.
Well, I've heard this saying, and to me, it's a bar, right? Where your pain can be the fuel for your breakthrough, and
100%.
God uses that pain for his glory, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like what happened to you is almost a blessing in disguise, right? Because of now you become an influential, right? But you did mention something very interesting, was that God is your rock. So were you a believer at a young age, or how was that?
Right.
Or how was your upbringing when it came to the faith?
Right. So my parents, my dad grew up Catholic and my mom grew up Christian. But when my parents got married, my mom influenced the whole family to become Christian. And my mom is really religious. But now I try to look at the positives for my family. Life has lately been teaching me to look at the great values that my parents have provided for me, because before I would kind of look at the negatives, and every day's still a battle. But now seeing my mom's faith, how she has always, my mom prays every day, like for 2 hours in the morning, and she's so religious, reads her Bible. But there are certain things that I feel like now God's doing in my personal life for a movement in my family, which is crazy. But my mom grew up Christian. We'd go to church on Sundays, but I attended youth group. It was called Voltage over there by Iris in Imperial Beach. Not in the greatest area, but from 14 to about 17. And I attended youth group. I mean, I was a leader. I used to shine the spotlight on the pastor, and I tried to play the bass for a couple times. But alcohol was a component too. At times, I feel like I wanted to be a part of the group of friends, and I didn't want to be left out. And at times it wouldn't work out that way. My mom would be like, come home, or I didn't have money to hang out with the church people. So I'd go with the other people, not the bad people, but the party friends on Fridays after youth group, and then I'd go off with them. And then I joined the military at 18 and 19. I had a girlfriend that I was with for 5 years. Ex, should I say? But for 5 years, and that kind of, I always believed in God, but belief is such a powerful word. So to think back about it is now like, I did believe, but sometimes we tell ourselves we believe in something, but we put it to the side and we ignore it. And I think belief is such a powerful meaning. So I did believe, but I kind of distanced myself from the word of God. I mean, I just started living my personal life. I lived in my flesh, and I just joined the military, and I took matters in my own hands. And now, through this process of losing my sight, I tapped back into my faith, because everything is just so coincidental. Sometimes God does certain things where you're just like, wow, like it's God, like
Yeah.
it's so coincidental.
Yeah, there's no way around it, right?
There's like no way around it. It's like it all points back, and it's just like wow. And then it gets very emotional when you get very vulnerable with the Word of God, and it's just it really blows your mind.
So would you say you didn't internalize it back then as a young teen?
Right.
You were partaking into, the what-
Cultural.
yeah, like
Correct.
almost rituals, like
Yeah.
this is part of church
Right.
doing.
Correct. And that's what some of the
Meeting.
influential people have really helped me. I'm still understanding and learning, but now today's in an economic and political world, a lot of things are being brought up with Western Christianity communities and religion and stuff like that. But one of them have mentioned that like a lot of people get brought, the cultural is what really made a movement in Christianity because parents believed in it, But there was this guy, I forgot, I can't really name him, I forget their names, but he said, I really wanted to like tap into my faith and do the research and really believe and see what I'm like believing in. I think that's what really belief is. It's like, I mean, I work out heavily and I really think like it's me having to do like the studying of like how am I going to recover? How am I going to eat well? You can't work out and not have a foundation and not expect to succeed out of it.
Now that you say that, and I'm putting the pieces together, it's the same thing, right? It's like going to the gym.
Right.
But then you come out of the gym and then you get your bag of Doritos and you get yourself a big old Coke.
Right.
So it's like it
Yeah.
defeats the purpose, right?
Correct. 100%.
You were gonna
Be
say
talking
something?
about me, bro.
Right. And
Bro.
we love the Doritos.
I
You know
know.
what I mean?
That's
But it's
protein, A. That's protein. Bro, so you join the military and what happens? You join the Navy, Army, Marines?
I was in the army as an infantryman. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So how was that experience? So you went in there. What was that experience like?
To look back, and I'm blessed to have been that God put me in those positions to be able to be a veteran now and to be of service in my country. But matureness is very important. The way how we're influenced by family and how we go into certain organizations. In this case, it was military for me. I didn't know what I was doing. Sometimes people ask me for advice, like, "Hey, should I join the military?" And I always ask them questions like, "Why do you want to do it? What do you want to do?" Like clarity is so important.
100%.
That from what I've been learning now through this, and I had no clarity. I just kind of wanted to get out of my
Get away.
environment.
Mm.
Yeah, and I had a girlfriend, and I just wanted to get out of my environment, and I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was like, join the infantry. Didn't even know what the infantry was, but
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. What is that?
the infantry are grunts, so basically front line, just
Oh,
like a
shoot.
regular soldier, like what you can just what a regular person imagines when they think of a soldier. Gun. I was a machine gunner. They give the smallest guy the biggest gun, so I had a 240 Bravo, which is a 7.62 bullet, which a pretty gun, but big gun. It weighs 29.7, and machine gun. Yeah, so
Are
Were
those
you
the ones that
heavier?
take down the helicopters and stuff?
it couldn't take down a helicopter. It's meant to be used for like for it's been a while, but it's meant to be used for like for a big distraction for a big cause,
Is it the 50 calibers or
50 cals are different, but those are 50 cal machine guns. They also got a 50 cal sniper Barrett rifle. Yeah, but I wasn't no expert in it. I mean, I was an expert shooter, but there's people that really get into those kind of things, right? And that they know like their stuff back and forth, like technical wise and everything.
Did that affect your like how did we get from military and then from you losing your sight, brother?
Right. So the VA, that's why I'm so blessed to be able to have the VA and the resources that I do have because I think back and I'm like, dang, what if this would have happened to me and I didn't have those resources and
For reals.
and like the doctors and stuff like that. But at this current moment, they're trying not to connect it to the military. It's a very rare disease, so it's 1 out of 10,000, and it's
1 out of 10,000.
right. And then 1 out of 10,000, it's like I fall under a 10% category because they can't find my gene yet. So the goal is to find the gene and then to put me into clinical trials for stem cell therapy. But stem cell therapy is still being studied throughout United States. It's not FDA approved, but there's clinical trials all around the world right now.
Yeah.
But that's if they find the gene to put me into clinical trials. But they can't find my gene. We tested we DNA swabbed me 2 times, and then the third time was back in November, and we did my whole family, my mom, my dad, and my brother. but it still came back negative. So it's like out of those 1 out of 10,000, I fall under the 10% category, which makes it very frustrating. In the beginning, when I used to go to these appointments, I'd get very down. I'd hope for a good answer, but now I just leave it up to God. Like now, it's like, okay, it's God's plan, you know, and and that's really what gives me peace and to not stress and
100%.
to stay focused on the mission, you know, and to not where there's a will, there's a way. I have to figure a way out every time, you know. I
And
can't drive, so it's like, yeah,
and even though like just thinking about it, bro, imagine walking in darkness, bro.
right,
It's something where even for us, bro, you hit your toe on the table or something happens, you're in the darkness, bro, you lose your patience. Like, turn on the light. Like, what's going on? Imagine. So, what was that process, bro? When did you figure out, like, I'm about to lose my sight? Like, run me through that day, or was it gradual? Like, did you start losing your sight, like, through time?
right. So the way this diagnosis states, I didn't know this, but apparently mostly every blind person can see to a certain extent.
Okay.
Every diagnostic is different and it starts differently. But this diagnostic states that it starts in one eye and then it goes to the other.
Oh, gotcha.
That's how it started with mine. One day I woke up from a night of drinking and I had blacked out. I was too turned up and I was out in downtown. And the next day I went to a coffee shop with a friend and I felt like complete crap. I was just like, man, I feel like throwing up. I need food. Like, and
You thought it was a hangover?
I thought it was a hangover. And yeah, and then, but yeah, it was on my left eye. And then I was like, I used to say I was arrogant about it, but now going through these organizations and getting to know better about this new life that I have to adapt to, it's like it happened very suddenly. So I can't call myself arrogant. It's just more like it was very confusing for me. So it started with the left eye first, and then my buddy was like, because I couldn't see the menu at the coffee shop, and he was kind of like, well, basically, he was just like, oh, cover one eye. And I was like, it's my left eye. And I kind of ignored it for 3 weekends. And I still kept partying. And then it gradually started going to the right eye. And I noticed when I was driving, I almost crashed a couple times. I couldn't go to school. At school, I couldn't see the whiteboard anymore. And that's when I was like, I started going to the doctor. And I was like, and then that was the process of like a lot of stress. My
Yeah.
ex would take me to my appointments. And I was just very confused and anger. And I just started, yeah, experiencing those hard times of stress. It got very tough.
And how did you process all that anger and all those emotions?
Unfortunately, I hate to bring up my ex, but my ex, I had this girl I had met, and she was very nurturing, and she took me to all my doctor's appointment, and I live by myself. I have my own place, but she took a lot of the what do you call it, like all this is happening to me, so she took a lot of the fire too as well, because like, and
You felt the pressure.
she felt the pressure, and I was feeling angry,
So you would lash out on her?
I would lash out on her. I would drink, and there was a time where she was not loyal to me, and she was dishonest about something, about getting with an ex, with a friend of mine, and when I was drinking. So like that night when I was drinking, I had blacked out. I got arrested, and then because they say infantrymen are knuckleheads, because I was a knucklehead, and they weren't letting me in the bar, and basically I was just like, and then they took me down, and then and yeah, and basically that night she was a bit disloyal to me, but that affected the whole process,
Mm.
because when I was going through that, then 3 weeks later I started losing my sight, and then like boom, and then she was being there nurturing me and like, I mean, helping me out, trying to be as good as she can, but then every time I would drink, like I felt like she basically like betrayed me. So like there was just so much mixed emotions going on. Like I'm losing my sight, my ego's being broken, like this girl's being there for me, but then again, I can't feel the real feelings that I have for her, and everything was just being broken. So the way I was processing it was just kind of drinking on the weekends. When she would leave, I was just feeling sorry for myself. I would drink. She would come back and I'd be on the couch, just it would be dark and I was just crying and crying, and and she tried to help me out, but yeah, it was,
Yeah, she could only do so much, right?
you could only do so much. You could only help somebody as much, and God will do his thing. Yeah, God will do his thing.
No, God would remove all the handles, all the steps,
Oh, yeah.
so He's the only one.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
So it sounds like you've been going through the mental health aspect of things. Is
Yes.
that right?
Correct.
Okay.
100%.
And how is that helping you, and what's the impact that has played?
Right. So shortly after that had happened, well, like, so I was processing all that. I was drinking, and then this happened, and so the beginning of 2023, January, and then she couldn't take it anymore on my birthday. Well, like basically on my birthday of 2023, May. So 5 months later, June, 5 months later, she basically decided to walk out and leave on my birthday. And then my birthday was basically the moment where I fell into that depression mode when I was alone, basically. And that's when I started drinking to the point where I was like, I don't care about life. I just kind of like, it is what it is. My dreams are broken. How am I gonna do this? I'm losing my sight. Like, there's no hope for me anymore, you know? So I was just kind of drinking the feelings away and the pain away, you know? And that's when I went into that moment where I kind of almost, well, where I basically almost died from alcohol poisoning. I I damaged my liver and stuff like that, and then I went to the hospital and I came back, and that's when my friend told me, he's like, it's either gonna make you stronger, or it's gonna make you weaker. And then David Goggins helped me, but I was weighing in at 220 at the time.
Oh,
Right, I
what?
look totally different. If I show you guys pictures, like a lot of people say, like, damn, you look like you're 35 right there, and now I look 25, and I mean,
Yeah, you look super young. You're probably younger than that. How old are you?
I'll be 30 in next month in May.
Oh, really?
You are
Yeah.
young, bro.
God, yeah, praise God. And I mean, I used to say I used to run from it. Now I'm running towards it, and I'm super excited. But yeah, I started picking up the running. I started off with running 2 miles every day. Then I went from 4 miles, and then I went from six. And then next thing you know, I'm running 15 to 20 miles every other day outside of my parking lot and stuff like that.
What?
I can't really,
Listening to Goggins, bro, will make you run, bro.
right.
Because
Yeah.
this guy, bro, he ran a marathon. He broke his knees, bro, or his
Right.
ankles, right?
Yeah, like it's
And he still ran, bro.
but it's really is the fuel though. I tell people like this guy today at the gym, he was overweight, and I was telling him like, dude, I was like, that's encouraging me. And he kind of looked at me confused, because I'm like, dude, why are you so encouraged and hyped up that I'm on the treadmill? But I was like, dude, I was there.
Is he
but it-
running speed 15, bro, on the treadmill?
I'm
Bro, what's the cap max
Right, so
on the machine, bro?
So when I started running the 15 minutes miles every other day, I met this gentleman, and he's at the gym, and he was like, I'm doing a marathon. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for it. And he encouraged me to do the marathon last year, and I did the rock and roll marathon. I did 27 miles at an 8 minute pace.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty well. And right
Once
now,
upon a time, I could do it at 8, bro.
yes, sir.
Me
Hell yeah, I believe
at
that.
at 2:35, bro. I was running.
Oh dang, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can only do 1 mile though.
Okay. Hey, still, that's what it takes.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely. It's just the consistency.
Yeah, I can blow a head gasket 1 mile.
Yeah, that's right.
Death, but I made it.
So when was that turning point when you ran into Goggins? Like, how did you run into him? Or
It was
He's all over the internet, huh?
It's also Andrew Tate. A lot of people are controversial with Andrew Tate, but Andrew Tate helped me kind of like with the X, kind of like stop victimizing yourself and stop being Andrew Tate can get a little extreme with the way he words things, but I kind of also needed that on the aspect of my ex, like to stop feeling sorry for myself. And David Goggins helped me with like get up and do something. Like he used to be big, so like it's not that I was super big, but I had to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself like what's going on in my life. I had to be true. Like the truth is very brutal and stuff, and I had to be very brutally honest with myself and look at myself in the mirror. So it was just during that moment when after I almost died that I started kind of like listening to. I think I was just on the couch and I was crying, and it was just on the TV. So I can't watch
Yeah.
TV anymore. So I just kind of like click things, and the algorithm just takes charge. That's what I'm saying. It's God. Like, but then again, it's the algorithm. But God speaks to me in very mysterious ways.
you know what, man? I God can use anybody.
Right.
I mean, we see it through scripture where he used wicked kings,
Right.
right? He used Pharaoh, who was very wicked. He used Nebuchadnezzar. He used a donkey.
Donkey, yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Correct.
So, and I say all that because sometimes as people of faith or part of the church, we demonize these people, right?
We do.
It's like, oh no, he curses a lot, or no, he talks about women this way.
Right.
But it's like if you're letting a person, like you said, you're not idolizing them, but they influence you in one or several aspects of your life. So it's, and the fact that you couldn't see,
Right.
I'm sure God knew.
Not only the physical, but now the visual. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, my son needs this guy, and I'm gonna,
Right. Yeah, crazy. And
my
like the
boy
guy that
Diego
crushed me to
needs.
the marathon, and he's
Yeah.
Muslim, so like, that's what and it's crazy because Andrew Tate is like, I'm not like a scholar in like religion, and I'm learning, but I do stand on Christian morals because of my family and my mom. But they do say the Christian Western has fallen, but because of they lack discipline. So now I'm like that person that's like being so disciplined and kind of
here
saying
we
the
go,
truth
young
and
David. Let's go,
right, which is
young David. Let's do this.
and
Man.
like, but it's a hard path and it's
It
tough.
is.
So like overwhelming. And I mean, God's putting all these responsibilities on me. I'm
Mijo, but
teaching
you
people.
cried through it. You know what I mean? So you know that the time you spent healing, that crying was God nurturing you.
I still cry sometimes.
No, bro, and it's okay. But I see. So when is that time that you said, you know what, I'm gonna get up, and I'm gonna start moving, and God's gonna use this for His glory. Like when did you start thinking that way?
When I started running past 12 miles, when I started doing things like Goggins started doing, I felt like, wow, like, and that's what he said, like, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's kind of like that's what I tell people now, like, if I can do it, you can do it. Because like it was kind of that moment, like, wow, like I can't look at no human and be, well, I have to look at a human and be like, if that person can do it, I can do it. So that was that moment of that trigger, like,
Yeah.
wow.
One of the biggest factors that help you with anxiety, bro, is exercise. I was just reading on it.
Right, 100%.
It's something where your hormones and those sweat glands and all that biology in your body, bro. I used to run and cry, bro,
Right, yeah.
and it used to be therapeutic for me. I used to run and just cry. People were like, "Hey, is it raining?" It's like, no, it's my sweat and my tears.
Right, 100%.
But it was something of just me thinking about, again, me being tough on myself, right? Like, I need to be better. I need to do this. I need to do, and that will fuel me to run harder.
Yeah, you have to break those walls and you have to like face those. I feel like sometimes it may be too extreme to people, but you have to face those demons. You have to fight and break those walls, and it's personal to each his own. It could be running like how you yourself it was running during that moment, but you have to adjust and adapt to certain times in our lives where it could change. But it has been running for me because of the military and Goggins and these people that have helped me, and now I've been sticking with running. I mean, now I do weightlifting training, and yeah, so um my coaching, I call it tunnel vision because like I don't have my tunnel vision, so that's kind of what helps me. It gives me fuel. That's what I was telling the guy today on the treadmill. I was like, because he was like, oh, I'm going. He's like, I've never been this big, but he's like, it was a marriage, and he's like, I'm going through that breakup right now, and I was like, oh, you have that fuel in you then, and I was like, that's what allows me to like run how I do now is because I focus. I don't focus on what I cannot see, but I always remember like, okay, like I cannot see, like what am I doing it for? So that's what fuels me and stuff.
So
Wow.
it was really intriguing right now when you were bringing up Tate about he's a Muslim. I heard, because I don't know a whole lot about him, but I heard he was a Christian, right?
Right. I heard he's also opening up to being a Christian now.
Okay,
Right.
so he, you said he was like thrown off for the lack of discipline in Christianity.
He was, yes, like I believe he was an atheist first, and also one of my number one biggest mentors is Patrick Bet David.
Oh, that's my
Patrick Bet
dude,
David is a
bro. That's
lion,
my
but his
dude.
logo is a lion. I mean, very respected man, family man.
Oh, who is that?
Patrick Bet
PBD.
David.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Very good. He's got a podcast. I mean, he started off with a business. He opened up PHP, People Helping People, a life insurance agency, but he does consulting. But he has a podcast now. He's basically is taking over the news media, but
Yeah.
he does all statistics and numbers. So like, I love when you can't argue with the person because they give numbers and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
he's
like,
giving you
here's
the facts.
Here's the graph. Like, how can you argue with this person?
He has a dude, I forgot his name. What's his name? The dude that's fact checking.
Oh, I that's what I'm saying. I don't even know the names,
Got
but
the
there's a
name,
guy that, yeah.
I follow PBD hard.
I just need. I'm asking all this information because I got a friend. I got a friend that needs.
PBD tape, y'all watching this?
I got a
Tune in,
friend,
tune in,
you know.
we were trying to learn.
Hey, let's bring you in, man. Let's bring you in.
I'm not even talking about Chris, bro.
Oh, but
I'm bigger than Chris.
he,
So I
he
can't
is the
talk.
one that interviewed Kobe.
Right. He has interviewed so many
Oh.
people. So
Kobe, Tyson,
right.
The Rock,
Yeah.
Shaq. I mean,
That's what he kind of has built his brand to off of. He's interviewed. I mean, that's what one of the podcasts here was a Muslim and a Christian, and that's what they were talking about. And that's what kind of like, oh wow, like just the lack of this, just the there's problems everywhere in the world, but the problems in society that we can work with and solve to make a better world and life.
it's just to me, it seems like Christianity seeks comfort,
It does.
right? Like
Right.
we want to treat God like
Like it's
Je-
weak, or what do you mean?
yeah.
Like justify. Oh, there was this saying. I was at the gym 3 days ago, and I was like, I'm gonna run, because I ran 13 miles yesterday. But a couple days ago, I told the lady, I was like, oh, si Dios quiere, and then she was like, no es que si Dios quiere, es que si tú quieres, si tú quieres. And I was like, good job. I was like, because my parents and a lot of people they say like, oh, if God wants it, and I'm like, no, God wants you to succeed. Like God wants you to like
Yeah.
to run or whatever it is. But I get what you're saying by I don't want to lay not all Christians, but a big of the Christianity organizations they do kind of feed into the comforter and like kind of like that saying goes like si Dios quieres if God wants to.
It's a lazy relationship.
It's a lazy
They're,
relationship.
so they have a lazy relationship with God. God's gonna supply everything, and I'm not gonna do nothing.
That part.
That's dangerous.
It
Oh,
is
extremely. Because check this out. And this is an epiphany I had. So the word disciple, right? We're disciples. Well, that's where the word discipline comes from.
Mm.
right,
But how disciplined are we, bro?
right,
Because for some reason, and I don't even know where this comes from, it seems, and especially being Latinos, it seems like
The tortillas taking over. The
Yeah,
tortillas are
right.
taking over,
It
bro.
does sometimes.
well, there's no discipline in our,
Yeah.
Right.
our eating habits.
Right, eating habits, and now economically and politically, I mean, things are moving, which
'Cause
is
rice
crazy.
is so good, bro. Rice
Right.
is so good.
Yeah, it is, man. I
Rice,
love
donuts.
chilaquiles, man. Bread, I love bread. I mean, like,
does
I
have-
gain weight so easily. Like, I'll eat a slice of pizza and I'll gain 2 pounds. Like,
I've never heard anybody say I don't like bread.
man, I want to
like
make a brand one
tacos.
day. Like, I need to make my own bread that's healthy. Like, I don't call it the bread man, but
Bro,
like,
have you seen that Ezekiel bread?
oh no,
Look it up, bro. Ezekiel bread. Oh shoot.
man. But yeah,
No, Ezekiel bread, bro. It's pretty expensive,
Oh, okay.
but it has the Bible verse where Ezekiel did bread
Yeah.
that he yeah.
oh, it's green.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah,
Well, it's
yeah.
made of grains.
It's all grains, bro.
Not like
Nice.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good bread. But man, I love that, bro. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you're in the process of being used for impact. Because
Yes.
this is
Let's go,
this is
Diego.
where it gets me, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, we should be looked as the ones who are influencing the world. But it seems like it's the opposite.
Right.
We're being
Influenced by the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
and that's why we're losing so much influence
Right.
as a body of Christ,
Correct.
because people don't want to be a part of a body that's unhealthy.
Right.
Like, how can you
Yep.
go and
Right.
try to influence someone or encourage someone when they see like
Right.
you all jacked up? And check this out. I was talking to Señor F, one of our boys from Mexico, and this dude travels all over the country. And I asked him,
Oh, I
"Bro,"
remember you were asking me that.
yeah, I asked him, yo, bro, what's the statistic in overweight pastors? And he said, bro, he said, I would go as high as like 80%.
Dang, really? That's what he said?
And I was like, for real, bro? He's like, yeah. He
Sucks.
said,
That's why I'm not a pastor, bro.
Yeah.
and he said, and that's just overweight, but obese, like,
Oh shoot.
he
Yeah.
said, I would go like a 50.
Yeah.
I was like,
Right. And one time I went to a church and I heard of this gentleman he was a pastor, and all respect to him. And I love people, and I don't mean to like talk bad, but he was speaking about the word of God, and he was a pastor, and I had to zoom in the way how I can't see the projector and stuff, but the way how I zoom into things, I use my camera and I like zoom in and stuff. But I zoomed into him, and because he was talking about how he can't have kids and how he's praying for kids, but and then when I zoomed in, he was obese, and I was like, but that's probably what's contributing to that, like your
100%.
health. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not sure, but I mean, we can all make a pretty educated guess that that could be a contributing factor to it. But the fact that that person is saying God and this and that, it's kind of like, like,
That's why they're speaking so good about fasting, bro, because we're eating way too much. And it's in high cholesterol, it lowers your testosterone.
right,
Oh yeah.
does.
They were talking about. And what is testosterone for a man? It gives you motivation,
it does.
your libido,
Yeah.
all that.
Joe Rogan talks about how most men they're very low on testosterone.
Yeah.
And I was low on testosterone, and I mean fitness has very been
Oh, you did your blood work and everything?
I've
What was your
yeah.
testosterone?
Average man should be at about a 800 to 1100. I was at borderline 200, so like I basically barely had it.
No.
Right, and I have the mitochondria disease, so like, and that's why I think God's also using me in a way, because with the health and wellness being, it's like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, so that's what breaks down carbs, it's what breaks down your food, it's what does everything, even dopamine and everything like that. So if anything, it's like I have more of a reason to like take it easy on working out, but I'm forcing it. I'm like running, and I like you mentioned, you get that runner's high, those endorphins. Like I'm forcing my brain to pump those chemicals and whatnot. I just found out 2 days ago, I'm going to the blind rehabilitation center next week, and I'll talk to you guys about what that is. But this guy 2 days ago told me, he's like, your brain, your eyes are just sensors. Your brain does 70% of the job, and your eye,
Hey.
like if you say like, oh, where's the color red? Your brain is doing 70% of the work. So like with, I guess, like one part of the brain is like shapes, another part is literature. So like it'll remember like where red is, so it'll detect it quicker. And the eyes are just sensors. So that's why like I see better than I did before, which is crazy. Like I call them spidey senses when I run, because I'm like, I'll catch things. I'm like, what the heck? Like, and people will be like, how are you blind? But it's because like my brain is working at such a like a Ferrari engine type of motor. And I think, I mean, I feel like I'm experiencing it myself. But with the mitochondria disease, I feel like God's using me as an example for those that are like, needing that word.
So it seems like we're full of excuses.
100%. I'm full of
Yeah.
excuses are, oh man. I don't know how big the book of excuses is, but I'm sure that's
It's in my name. It's in my brand.
Yeah, I
right.
have it, bro. And would you say that when Jesus speaks about denying yourself in order to be his disciple, is that an aspect? Because we were talking about this, how we over spiritualize everything, and we take the scriptures just on the spiritual side, right?
Right.
So would you say it also applies on the physical, where you're denying the fact that you don't want to get up and exercise? And do you go through those stages where you just don't feel like working out?
I do believe so, because it's like that lazy relationship. I think like once you um fitness allows you to have that relationship. It allows you to work on yourself first and foremost, so that you can take care of other relationships, and that's that relationship with God too. So from my experience, what I've seen, and like I said, I'm not no scholar in religion, but sometimes God speaks to me, and the way my cousin one time, he's a big giver. There's certain people that are very much big givers, and they give and they give and they give. And one time my cousin had mentioned, he's like, oh, but in the Bible it says like use your heart, like give your heart out. And then I was like, okay, let's go to the scripture. But then right before that scripture, it also mentions to use your mind, and that the heart can be deceiving.
Oh,
And then
100%.
I'm like, but then people like paint, like they highlight this one, but they don't use the other one. But it's because that relationship with themselves, that they're just so quick to, like, and I feel like it's a lazy response.
Well, we skip details.
We skip details, right?
Yeah, like I
Like,
had this another epiphany, right, where the greatest commandment,
right,
which is love God with all your mind, body, and strength, which it does not say spirit, by the way,
Oh, okay.
right? This is when they
Putting in strength. Right on.
this is when they asked Jesus, the religious leaders, right? And they were trying to trap him. You know, they were being fools.
Right.
Like, okay, well, which is the greatest commandment? Because these dudes had hundreds of commandments, you know.
Right.
So it's like, okay, which is the biggest one?
Right.
And Jesus summarized the whole Torah, the whole book of law
Right.
into these two,
Oh, interesting.
which is love God with pretty much your whole being
Right.
and love others as you love yourself.
Right.
You know, he said this is as important. Check this out. That's what blew my mind, bro. And I've known this scripture for a long time. I mean, I'm going to 12 years in the walk. And I just had this revelation, let's call it like that. The churchy word or the churchianity
Yeah.
language. Um, and bro, I literally, it was months ago. But it says it's as important, bro, to love God and love others as you love yourself.
Right. To love yourself is so important. I mean, from what I've been seeing is like God. I'm not sure if I'm correct. That's why I'm not no scholar, but God lives within us, and like when we take care of our temple and ourselves, like God will
It's
grow.
facts.
Right? It's facts. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then people like, oh man, that's what I'm saying. It's a tough path for me because at times I say things and people get so like they judge and they get so triggered by these certain things because they feel like they're being attacked, and I think that's the issue with religion too as well.
Well, it's the lack of
It-
taking responsibility.
Taking responsibility is a huge one. That's what has helped me out a lot too within like yeah, taking accountability for myself and my own actions. I think that's the number one.
So when you were depressed, bro, on the scale from 0 to 10, how much did you love yourself?
Oh, I thought I loved myself. So I had a BMW I was able to drive. I had a 330i red interior and everything like that. And it's crazy for me to say. I mean, I still miss driving to this day, but it's crazy for me to say that I'm happier now than I was before. And I thought I was happy before because I partied it up. I had girls in the back. You know, I had a platinum Amex Gold card. I had a business. I used to do Amazon wholesale drop shipping, and you know, I'd flaunt it and stuff like that here at times. But I didn't truly like love myself. I was very distracted. I didn't take accountability of what I didn't prioritize my things. If you take a man's health away, then he'll really know what health is. And then I really see clearer about what is important in my life.
So would you say there's a confusion and a misinterpretation or misconception of loving yourself with pleasing yourself?
Definitely 100% with people 100%. Because
'Cause
people want to feel good instead of like prioritizing what's important.
I think that's how pimps are able to.
Convince females.
Right. Yeah, and it's in a book too, 48 Laws of Power. They banned that book from jails because that's what it's crazy.
Did they ban it?
Yeah, they
And weights?
right. I'm not sure of weights, but that's what one of
They
my
don't have weights no more in prison because they were getting too big.
probably yeah, freaking
But
feeding.
now they're doing kinesthetics. They're getting bigger.
You can't stop them.
You can't stop those guys. Heck no.
If you want to work out, you're gonna work out, bro.
Right.
Like I don't lift weights because my
Because you don't want to get too big,
no.
too handsome.
Yeah.
You're all telling your wife, Mija, just wait until I get big.
Oh, I started following this one guy on social media, and he was doing some crazy workouts, bro, with dumbbells,
All right.
calisthenics, but with a little bit of dumbbells,
100%.
almost like
Let's
half
get
a
you ripped.
burpee, and then like
Yes, sir.
up.
Right.
But
100%.
then it started affecting my elbow, bro. I started getting like tennis elbow,
Right.
so I stopped completely. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do.
What's tennis elbow?
It's when you're.
Mexicans play tennis?
Oh,
Well, I think it has to do with my job too, because I bartend. So
Oh.
it's crazy, right? I bartend,
Yeah.
but I don't do it at clubs. It's at a steakhouse, so it's not
Oh,
like
good.
I'm not
Right
getting
on.
people drunk. It's
yeah,
like,
definitely ain't nothing wrong with
uh,
attending.
but it's just doing repetitive
Repetitive
movement
movements, right.
of
Yeah.
your arms. So the elbow, that's why it's called tennis elbow, because they're like
Oh,
using
the racket.
the racket all the time. So I think that doing these workouts, because that's when it started,
Right.
affecting my elbows. So I was like, oh man, I ain't gonna do.
Right.
I'm gonna stop all that, but I can still work out. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's tough, setting everybody has a different like path or like what they need to do to achieve like fitness. It could be even walking. Um, so I had a torn rotator cuff and like I fit stretching is so critical to me. Like those small movement workouts that calisthenic guy with 5 pounds so important to me. Resistant bands,
Mm.
but the where there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way. But definitely, I know you'll tap back into it, and it's just a process of healing and figuring a way out.
See, bro, that's why I brought Diego, bro.
Heck yeah, I'm here to
Because
motivate
your
people.
elbow,
Yeah.
we cast it out, bro.
Yeah,
to
we
the
cast it out. It's healed.
the
In the
name
name
of
of
Jesus,
Jesus.
bro.
Man,
Yeah, let's
I'll
go.
take it. Let's
Watch,
go.
touch your elbow, bro.
is.
Touch your elbow, bro. Touch your elbow, bro.
Right, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bro, what happens when you hear that news from the doctor, bro, and he tells you, you're gonna, is that what they said? You're gonna lose your eyesight? Or what was their words, bro?
Right. So in the when I first started, I was going to oh, thank goodness I forgot the name. But I was getting seen by UCSD, Shiley Eye Institute, but it's right next to UCSD. But in the beginning, they were all confused, but they were already kind of almost diagnosing it as genetic. But once they finalized it and they labeled it, it was with this doctor named Dr. Sadoun at UCLA. That was the appointment where he diagnosed me, and he's like, "Yes, this is it." I just kind of broke down, honestly. I was like,
In the office?
I just broke down right in front of him, and I was like, "What am I gonna do? Like, I have dreams, I got goals," and he gave me a. I still have the picture, and he gave me a piece of pamphlet next to what LH. It's called LHON, Leber's Hereditary Optical Neuropathy, and he gave me a pamphlet. But my nephew was with me, and he was driving me back home. But literally, I just told him, I was like, stop at the liquor store, grab the Michelada, a 3-pack, and I just started like drinking in the car, and that's how I took it. Yeah.
So that was a
That's
way.
crazy.
That was a way of you
I was pissed. I was angry. I was just sad. I was just
soothing,
broken.
right?
Yeah,
Self-soothing type of deal.
100%.
Drink it away.
Yeah,
But it's crazy how it doesn't go away, right?
it doesn't. Right, it
It
doesn't.
enhances it even more, right?
Oh, for sure. Alcohol is a antidepressant. I never really understood it before when they would tell me, but now I'm like, wow, it makes sense, Because even before when I would drink, like, I mean, it just puts you in an emotional state of mind. You're not in control of your emotions, and you make not the best decisions.
To me, it's fascinating how they're called spirits.
Right. It's crazy. Right. And like how you could still move and being blacked out, which is insane.
You're still operating.
Right. You're still operating, which we do not advise to drink and drive, but it's crazy how people can still do something without being in like in their soul. In their body.
Is now tapping into the spiritual realm. I mean, there's a reason why they call spirits, and just by
What's called
experience,
spirits? The alcohol?
the alcohol.
That's what they
That's the original name?
That's what they're called. You go-
Spirits?
Well, look at a liquor store. It says
even though
wine and spirits,
the wine and spirits
or
I've seen.
beer and spirits.
Yeah.
There's so I know because I've been in the restaurant industry and we
I think
serve
I did hear something like that.
There is a company called well, I'm not gonna say the name, but it's called the Wine and Spirits. Blah 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 wine and spirits.
Can you look that up, Chris? Ah.
Fact check. We're gonna have
Hey.
Chris be the fact checker.
Bro, so when did God speak to you about, hey, mijo, it's going to be okay?
Man, fighting those demons running. Like I listened to like this when I was on the treadmill today. I told the guys I listened to Ben Lionel Scott, but Ben Lionel Scott is just he's a motivational speaker. But through that process, he speaks about all these he so many great things on the motivational. But when I'm running, it just allowed me to, because when you're running or you put yourself through these very
You're praying,
uncomfortable
bro.
positions,
You're running and praying.
yeah, you're just hurting. Your knees are hurting. Everything's in pain. I have a sciatic nerve on my back. I got a torn meniscus on my knee. Like I have an injured ankle. So like through all those times when I was running, I was in pain, and still to this day, that's why I run, because it's uncomfortable and I hate to do it. But through that process, it's just like I had to put my faith to it. So one of the scriptures I'll never forget, it was like I think it's Isaiah 40, but it says, "For those who wait on the Lord shall find new strength. They will grow wings like they will grow wings. They will
Soar like eagles.
yeah, they will grow wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not faint." But that's what I kept saying when I was running, and that was giving me power. I was like, but then I'm just like, so much emotion is going on when I'm running. I'm thinking about like my ex, me losing my sight, like me being broken, like me, my family, the military, and everything's just like,
You're not gonna stop me.
and I'm like, and I was like, you're not gonna stop me, So that's what allowed me to like keep.
That's why I do burpees, bro, because they hurt.
Yeah, heck yeah, they do.
That's why I did that 40-day burpee challenge, bro, because I'm like, I'm not gonna quit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna confess I hated you for those 40 days. I took on that challenge, bro, and I was like, oh, dang it. It was like, it would get close to, nighttime, and I was like, oh, shoot, like, I got to do these freaking burpees.
Right.
bro. And I was like,
Yeah.
My shoulders were beat up, bro, because I used to do CrossFit.
Right.
So
yeah.
all that shoulder press,
Oh, for sure.
my shoulders were, and plus not being responsible, not stretching right, always being in a hurry, going to the gym. Oh, I only got an hour. Let me jump in this little second,
Right.
and not stretching, bro, and then paying the consequence later.
100%.
Like, oh shoot, my
That's-
shoulder hurts.
that's like skipping the process, right?
right.
100%.
That's also the lifestyle that we live nowadays, where we want to skip processes.
Plus, I'm 40, bro.
Yeah. yeah. People say, I heard another saying that says people want peace immediately, but you have to go to war. And I heard that from Goggins, but it's so true. I mean, like I see it in everywhere. Like people want the results right away, even with family, and it's tough, and it's like, and even myself, it happens in everyday life where we want something right away and quick. But the process is what's important. I've learned it in fitness, but I'm still learning it in other ways where God's teaching me how to be a leader.
Bro, that's why I tell these kids at church, bro, because I give the middle school. I got the middle school ministry, and I always tell them, you cannot have a microwave God.
Microwave.
And I always tell everybody, how long does it take you to do that popcorn?
Oh,
They're like,
right.
3 minutes.
That's a good
You
one.
cannot have a micro. You can't ask God to be instant with you, because God's gonna run you through that process. And guess what? It can take 3 minutes, or it can take a year, or it can take 10 years.
Right.
But we want things at our speed.
Right.
Like, oh God, I need you to help me now.
Right.
And it has, once again, the world influencing the church, right?
Right.
Because now with
Because it's hard to determine, like, to see, like, okay, like, am I working hard enough? Because it's real easy to be like, oh, God, I'll take my time. God's not, but then again, it's like, but God's also telling us, like, no, you can do it. So, like, it's hard to, like, find that fine line right in between.
Well, I think is finding and discovering the universal principles or universal laws.
Right.
And yeah, material things like nowadays with Amazon Prime, you order one thing and it's like 10 minutes, it's almost at your door, right? Now with
What Amazon is that, bro?
right.
What is that? My
Next day
goodness.
shipping,
Oh, you got
but
gold.
obviously I'm exaggerating, right?
Right.
Now with Uber Eats and
Yeah.
DoorDash and
Convenience.
The
So,
convenience, that's the word right there.
Convenience is key nowadays to
Exactly.
grasp onto people.
and so I believe that now you're expecting things to be that way,
Right.
Natural things,
Right.
like, okay, well, if that's how all these services, but these are all external things. It's
Correct.
these are not natural things.
Right.
Even now with movies, bro.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to
Netflix.
go. You don't have to go
crazy.
to
Yeah.
Blockbuster no more.
Good old days.
Yeah, you don't have to go and
Right.
grab a
Hollywood
VHS.
video.
Right.
Hollywood.
And
Yeah, bro, I remember
Crazy.
back in the days to watch my favorite videos, bro. I would literally record them on VHS
right.
so I can replay my favorite videos.
Yeah.
I would do like mixtapes, but same thing.
Yeah. The good old days.
Using to the radio and
Yeah.
you know how you used to put the little paper on the cassette tape so you can record on it.
Right.
And I would make my own mixtape.
And you hacked it, huh?
Heck yeah. You knew it. You got where there's a will, there's a way.
Hey, that's hashtag, right?
Yeah.
The world is away.
Yeah.
But now, bro, it just amazes me that
The convenience, bro. That's the word right
you
there.
just type it in on the search engine.
Right.
We want relationships as convenience, bro.
App.
Like, oh, I want to be around this person because it's convenient for me.
Right.
App.
I want this girl next to me because it's convenient for me.
Right.
And now that you're saying that, bro, I want to tap into the self love again.
Right.
Like you said, oh, I thought I love myself because I'm driving this whip,
Right.
partying. I got all these girls around me.
Right.
But these girls didn't love you.
Right.
Because as soon as all that was gone, where are these girls at?
Right. Bars.
You know what I mean? Where are all
Right.
these friends at?
Where are the friends at? Kendrick Lamar has a song where it says that. Yep.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
I'm pretty sure you found out real quick, huh?
Yeah.
Once you needed the help, right?
Yeah, even to this day, it's still like levels keep happening. Like at first, the people that like the common ones, like the girls, the party friends, you know, they kind of just dropped quick.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like the mind keeps getting stronger, so it's only like certain people that are coming towards it because it's a hard path what I'm on.
Yeah,
So
for
it's like
sure.
I have to like one of the motivational videos when I was listening to it right now a couple hours ago, it was saying like drop people that are negative, dead weight and stuff like that. And it's hard because it's like I sometimes I like
You
have to
want them in your life.
sacrifice. Yeah, even family sometimes. Family might not believe in you. Like Steve Harvey mentioned it one time. He said like none of my family believed in me, and he's like, and I went to a comedy show and with like $15, I forget how much money he had, but he's like, but now I'm flying all my family out, you know, and now they're all like, you know, but you know, it gets really hard to that point, and I think that's like one of the hardest parts.
What's that self belief as well, right?
Self believe, right?
And but going back to the love part is we don't know what real love is, and we see the real meaning.
Or we
It's
have love out of context, bro. It's not even, we're not even using it in context.
Well, and this is a message I gave down in TJ, right?
Listen right here, Chris. It's for you. It's for you, bro.
So, and it was right after Saint Valentine's Day.
Okay.
You know, we see love as, right, we see the balloons and the chocolate and the flowers and, you know, the nice dinners. And so we see love as something that is very pleasurable,
Right.
something that's sweet, something that makes me feel good. But real love is the total opposite.
Right.
So I love my wife, and I'm not going to do what I want or ask her to do what I want just for my own sake. And I think that's why the divorce rate is so high, because we jump into relationships expecting for the other person to fulfill those voids that we have.
Right.
And that's our responsibility, is not,
Yeah, especially as a man, I believe so.
oh yeah,
I feel like to be a man is like we have to take accountability and recognition of like, okay, like I can't fill that void with a girl that wants to love me.
mm-hmm.
I mean, from what I've heard, I do believe this is like men have always suffered. We have to make that hard decision. Like, okay, like I have to put my feelings to the side, and I really got to analyze and look at like what's really happening here, and
Exactly.
take leadership.
And we see the perfect example displayed of love on the cross.
Right.
You know, Jesus didn't come here to make us feel good or to make himself feel good.
Right.
Like just trying to wrap your mind around the fact that the people that he created,
Right.
like spitting on him,
Right.
you know, ripping his beard, mocking him, you know, like whipping him,
Yeah.
ripping out his flesh. You know, even when Peter tried to jump in and defend him and chop this dude's ear, you know, it was like, what are
Right.
you doing?
Right.
Like, don't you know
Yeah.
that I can call a legion of angels and they will come to,
Right.
I'm paraphrasing, right? But
Yeah.
to my defense or to
Yeah,
my
he could have.
service.
Right.
They're not
100%.
taking me.
And that's called
Yeah, I'm giving it.
Yeah.
it's wisdom and control. Actually, a friend of mine, you guys may know him, Beezy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Beezy, he was talking about how he got confronted at the park in Chicano Park, and I was just so like, wow. And I've been in this position in my life, and at times, I mean, many men have, where we feel like if we walk away, we're being cowardly because we're like we're not standing up for ourselves. But I got some clarity because I asked ChatGPT like, how did God, in some one of the stories, like, how did he like respond to those times when he was getting stoned and stuff. But ChatGPT explained to me like he used wisdom and control, and I asked ChatGPT like, how did he use wisdom and control? But basically stated that he hid. He hid in the tunnel or something like that. But basically ChatGPT explained like wisdom because like wisdom and control because he went and hid. He could have like he came and and blinded them, and then like
Yeah,
and then right after he like healed the blind child, and apparently that was like um a spiritual movement because the child wasn't able to see since birth. So it was like it was meaning like that he is life, that he is who he's speaking to be. So like he is like backing up what he's saying, but he like did it, he wasn't cowardly, like he believed in himself so much. But in that moment I thought about it, I was like, wow, like okay, so in that moment we might be acting out of fear, but instead we need to really stand bold, and like even if we run away, not run away, but we like walk away, we need to know why we're walking away and what are like to do it courageously instead of like letting fear come into our part, thinking we're doing it cowardly.
well, that's one of the fruit of the spirit is meekness, and I'm actually about to release a reel where I said this. Without power, there is no meekness, because meekness
Meekness.
is not weakness, even though it sounds like it.
Meekness.
It's when you're being meek, is that you're controlling your strength.
Right.
So when
To be kind.
Yeah.
no,
Uh,
I mean,
in a way, because you
in
could
a
come
way,
right
yeah.
now and
I
like
mean, kindness is another fruit of the spirit, but it pretty
Es
much,
mansedumbre.
yeah,
Okay.
like ser manso,
Ser
not
manso.
manso.
Right. Not mental. Right.
It's funny because
Yeah, because then that means we could be mental and like get down. I mean, like, yeah, like,
Exactly.
and it just leads you to nothing. You end up waking up the next day and you're like, dang, like,
and on that same verse, I say the the pen is full of dudes with emotional decisions,
right. Emotional decisions. Very correct.
right? Because how many times
Whoa, make a bunch of emotional decisions.
Right.
some dude may and some dude may trigger you or me or whatever, and then we make an emotional decisions, and when we get triggered is because we're giving that person the power.
Right.
We don't have power over ourselves. We're giving it away
Right.
to someone to take control of our emotions,
Right.
and we act up on it.
Yep.
So that where meekness comes into play. I mean, bro, Jesus could have stopped this at any time,
Right.
but his love for us is what drove him. That's why it's called the passion, because he was fueled and he was led by passion
Right.
to the point where it's like, you know, the pain didn't stop him.
Right.
And it seems like you're very passionate about your own being, your own wellness, and that's a beautiful thing, bro. And the fact that you have that, deficiency or illness, whatever it's called,
Intellectual impairment. Yeah.
and you're not letting that stop you,
Right.
like
You're healthier than all these little suckers out here.
Yeah.
healthier with all the
Yeah.
20/20 visions, you know
I
what I'm
went to
saying?
go run with a friend yesterday. He's a boxer. And I was like, and he's 19. I was like, I got a heart of a 19-year-old, like a healthy heart. But
Yeah, that's why. Look, bro, when the youngsters try to clown me, like, "Oh, you old and you this," I'm like, "Fool, I'll work you out. I'm not. You don't hear me like,
Work
oh,
you
I'm
out.
tired, and
Put down those churros locos and let's run a little mile. let's see who got
I'm not a runner.
Burpees.
them burpees.
I want to be a runner.
But we ran out of time.
Oof, otra vez.
I know.
Sheesh.
Bro, at the end of the pod, you want to say something? You want to say something else, bro?
How
not
do
off
you?
the top of my head right now?
Well, how would you encourage someone who's depressed? Like, what's the first step that you would recommend them to take?
Some time to themselves and to really be honest and true to who they really are,
Mm.
and to really look at themselves in the face and to be honest, to take accountability and responsibility. But that's tough. It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Takes courage, yeah.
It takes courage, right? Courage, and but you can do it. I mean, it's if you have God on your side, anything is possible.
Amen.
You can do it.
For real. Spartan.
Yeah, Spartans. Yes, we're warriors out here, and we do need a lead. And that's as Christians, I think there's a big movement going on today in today's world, politically and economically. But I feel as Christians, we do need to be leaders.
You know, and it looking at the very open, transparent pastors that are very influential to me, you can tell they're in good shape.
Interesting.
You know,
Interesting. It's like
Right. Things are interesting to me. Whenever I hear feedback from people, I'm just like, wow, it's crazy.
you know. But the ones that I want to spiritualize everything, they're like,
Yeah.
just put it out there. They're chunky.
Yeah.
and I think is that
They're chubby.
that whole accountability.
Yeah, because when you give a powerful message, I mean, I think somebody said it. I don't know if it's in the Bible, but it says like you will be judged upon, yeah, like you will be judged differently in front of a crowd or an audience and stuff like that. But I think it's because you're being judged in many different ways. Also, like if you're giving out a powerful message, it might not come out like like the how you want it to come out in a godly way if you're not taking care of yourself. Yeah, I think
You're not loving yourself, and
you're not loving yourself.
that's breaking a commandment.
Right. God's not gonna allow that person to elevate as if that person hasn't taken care of that certain things in their life.
Bro, this came out. It's like it exceeded my expectations. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
Chris did speak highly of you,
Well, thank you.
and I'm very grateful with my boy that he was able to make this happen.
Yeah, you made it happen, bro.
Thanks. I'm very grateful for you guys. I'm very grateful for Chris, for Dylan, Beezy. These have been some of my brothers that have been through this with me on this process and they've been seeing me better myself. And I'm excited to see what God has in plan for the future. And
Oh,
yes,
I gotta go jogging with you, bro. How early do you get up to go jogging?
oh man, it just depends on my days. But I mean, like I always improvise. If somebody is open to like making that dedication, I'm always here. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm here to serve. So
Ooh, nice.
yeah.
Better be ready.
Time.
15 miles, homie.
Yeah,
go,
not 15. We'll start off with just a mile or like 2. You know what I mean?
Let's go, Chris.
Definitely. But yeah, yesterday I went with some buddies, but they're in shape. But it just depends on the person. You know what I mean? We'll go based off of that person. So I'm a coach as well. I have my personal training. I'm a personal trainer, but now I'm a coach as well.
Okay.
Um,
Do you do meal coaching, or what is it called? The macros and all that?
right. So I give people meal plans and I
Oh,
track their
sheesh.
macros and their
Bro,
calories.
Chris got no excuses.
Yeah, and I also have check-ins. I have check-ins per week, and I give them a training plan according to what they want to achieve. So like if somebody wants to drop weight within, if they give me like they tell me like I have a wedding within 3 months, like okay,
you
then it's
get 'em
gonna be
down.
high intensity. You know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. But if they, it depends on the person, on the individual.
Bro, my boy's gonna show up with an elote, bro. He's gonna be like, I'm ready to run.
And I still put it in the plan. If somebody wants to have like a lasagna or like
Yeah.
favorite meal, like it's still doable. Like you could still put it in the max.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
Super dope.
definitely. I've been doing no carbs lately. I mean, I'm training for calisthenics and stuff like that.
You doing no carbs right now?
No carbs. I mean, I do healthy carbs like fruits and like nuts and stuff like that, but no bread.
Chris says as soon as you say no carbs, he gets like an itch in his body.
Dude, man, I love chilaquil, man. I love food.
Bro, we always finish the podcast with the 5 Yastas questions, bro. They're super random.
Okay.
And we slip in a Bible verse. So I'm going to start with question number 1. What is your dream car, old school and new school?
Dang, I love this question. Old school.
Dream car. Uh-huh.
I always ask everybody this question, actually.
You do?
Yeah, I love cars. I'm a big car enthusiast. Car, I'd say like
Old school.
classic old Mustang or like a '64 Cherry Red Impala. Either one of those two.
Oh, okay.
but those are two different vibes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then dream car, like
Or maybe I should ask Sunday morning or Saturday night car. You know what I mean?
exactly. Like what day is it
Yeah, what
for?
day?
You know what I mean? Is the girlfriend coming? Is
Yeah. Am I by myself? Or what music am I playing?
right. And then modern wise, dang, a G wagon, a Lamborghini SVJ.
Yeah, I love that G wagon too, bro.
Yeah, man.
I like
Big
it.
fan.
Bro, people would criticize me, but I like the Regal, bro. Like the 80 Regal.
Oh, those are beautiful. Yeah. One of my neighbors has that one. It's
Like
super
the
nice.
SS Regals.
Oh, right.
Like the one on training day.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
car, bro.
That's the office right there. Yeah.
You in the office, huh?
Yeah.
All right, question number 2. Bro, man, I wrote these down not knowing you were going to be here, okay?
Oh, right on.
So, what is the meaning of religion for you?
I mean, the religion.
Yeah, like what does that word sound to you, bro? Like
Sounds like the
Or
Pharisees.
would you say what brings out?
yeah, like when you hear that word, what do you think of?
Pharisees.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I still got a lot to learn. I mean, I feel like God's putting me in this position so I can break the old tradition ways, not just me, but this movement that God's doing. So, but I think of Pharisees.
Yeah. Bro, I think religion, gives you a black eye, bro, for relationship with Jesus. Like it sets up all these boundaries. Boundaries are cool, but I'm just saying like it pushes you away. You become that person. No, not right now. Don't bring her to Jesus right now. Like you become that person. Like no. Jesus will have no time. And Jesus is like, no, let the children come to me.
Right.
Like,
Well, I'm reading a book right now, and it was speaking on freedom. Like we all want freedom, right? That's a human desire. So sometimes, if we're looking at God as a religious lens,
religionese.
yeah,
Right.
we're seeing like a God that's restraining us from doing all these things, right? We see His commandments.
okay.
It's like, oh, I can't do X, Y, and Z, But it's actually the opposite. Is He's freeing us from all these things that are going to enslave us.
That's gonna enslave us, right?
Like alcohol was enslaving you, right?
Right.
It did it.
Distractions,
It did it for me as well.
Right.
I was enslaved to weed. I
Right.
was enslaved to lust.
Right.
I was enslaved to, doing bad things.
Correct.
But now I'm free,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And I can still go back and do those things, but those things are gonna enslave me.
Right. Exactly.
That's why it says that now I'm a slave for Christ, because now I'm a slave to serve Him, and to serve Him is to serve others.
Right. Which is life, which is insane because I feel more alive than ever
Because you're serving,
because I'm serving I'm serving. You're right.
right?
Correct.
So now you're free of all those things that enslave you, and now look at
Right.
God is doing, right?
100%.
Okay, question number 3. Bro, so we live in San Diego, bro. And
Name is Diego.
Diego.
yeah, Diego from San Diego. Bro, we have communities of homeless. How would you help them, bro?
Actually, that's gonna be one of my goals in the near future, God willing.
Like if you can come up with a strategy.
Well, my goal in the future is to create a sober living homes for people that battle with depression with alcohol.
Yeah.
But homelessness, I'm not too informed in. But the way I would love to help them out would be, like mental personal self development
Yeah.
homes or like organizations. But I mean, I'm a big fitness guy. I think, like you mentioned, like fitness produces dopamine and these chemicals that are very much needed to think clearly and give clarity. So sometimes I've thought of like going and make videos and giving people maybe like, you can do, how many push-ups can you do and stuff like that. So I mean, that's how I'm thinking of helping out homeless people and like getting them to have some kind of faith that they can do something.
Because if you think about it, bro, you give them a house and they're not ready for that house, bro, they're going to,
Yeah,
you know?
you can't.
It's all in the mind, bro.
Yeah, it's all in the mind, right?
Like, if I would say, "Hey, bro, I got $10 million for you. Do you know what to do with those 10 million?
Oh man, bro,
Right.
it's crazy.
The average lottery winner or goes broke. About 99% of lottery winners, they go broke within like I think 5 years or something,
Oh wow.
which is
Because-
insane.
Because they don't have the mindset
Yeah, they don't have
how
the
to
mindset.
how to handle that.
They quit their job right away.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, I'm set.
I'm set.
Yeah.
Done.
Buy mansions, but then
Walk in with an elephant.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you do not need an elephant.
Right. It's crazy because when I had my business, my Amazon wholesale dropper shipping business, I was working security at a Jewish synagogue. But I had quit my job and I was like, okay, like I could go full on my full remote on my business. But it's so easy for me to blame the fact that I lost my site, that I lost my business, my business went under. I could be like, oh, it's because I lost my site, which that's very valid. But I should have had a safety net. I should have been like, I should have quit my job, and that's, I think it's accountability. A lot of people in my shoes, I feel like would be like, oh, it's because I lost my site. But I'm very open and straight up to tell myself like, I also wasn't prepared to take that. Like,
Oh,
'cause
gotcha.
Patrick
No
Bet-David-
excuses, basically.
Right. Patrick Bet-David would say it a lot, like in Valuetainment, like before I lost my site, he'd be like, don't quit your job unless you have like this and that. And I mean, it was just things and now I pay attention. I'm like, okay.
well, we look at all these young famous artists or actors, how the fame will eat them up, bro.
It will. Facts.
It will
Yeah.
devour them and destroy their lives.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bro. Question number 4, bro. And I wrote this down, bro, before I even knew. Okay, so
Okay.
Philippians 4:13, is favorite verse, bro.
Okay.
I can do
413.
I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. What does that verse mean to you, bro?
I mean,
With
I've
that
been
thunderstorm in the background.
right. I've been experiencing it. I mean, yeah. I mean, like when I run, that's what powers me through. With all things, I could definitely through God. Um, yeah. It's some type of this. I have these videos of like when I was running in the rain, like thunderstorm right now, and like and then right now it's like a little bit harder for me to run outside because it's cold and I'm more comfortable and things like that. But it's like I had God beside me at that time because not that I don't have him now, but it's just I was more desperate for
Yeah, I get it.
We're
him.
seeking him.
I was more like I feel like I could do like that first.
Yeah.
Like I could do anything basically. But now I'm trying to do other things. So now I'm working on like other things. I'm going to the rehabilitation place next week where they're going to teach me how to adapt to technology and stuff like that. Because I look at my phone like this. I got to like zoom in. And like that's when people notice like, okay, this guy has got a problem, because I walk around really fine. But once people see me like this at the gym, they're like, this guy has a problem. But we got to go to this rehabilitation place next week. And it's called For the Blind Center. And they're going to teach me how to be basically like Steve Hawkins. Because I've been avoiding that. Like when somebody tells me to sign up to like this app, I'm kind of like, oh, it strains my eye. Like I just don't want to deal with it. But I'm going to go next week and it's going to take a mental toll on me because I got to improvise. It's not going to be a gym. I'm not going to be at home and it's going to be like, but now like.
And it's all day?
I got to stay there for a month. Some people got to stay there for 2 years, depending on severity.
okay.
And some people get into it. I met this guy. He got a motorcycle accident, whole face reconstructed. I met this other guy. He shot himself in the head, which is crazy, a Marine.
Wow.
And he had to stay there for 3 years. Me, I'm gonna stay there for a month because I don't got to do the mobility or like the life skills. I'm gonna check it out and see what I need to do. But I really need to do the technology part to it because I'm doing my business, my macros,
Gotcha.
and all that stuff. But that's what I mean. Like now, I'm taking God with me on that path. But I can do all things through Christ. But
Bro,
during
we'll
that-
pray for him before he leaves, bro.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
But when I was running in the rain, that's kind of what was applying in that moment. And to this day, it still applies, but it's just in different ways. It's
Yeah.
like levels to it, which is crazy. Like
Reals.
that's why some people stick with fitness and they just become. I don't want to be that person. It just works out. I'm always gonna work out, but I don't want to make it my whole thing. I want to help people, and I love it, and create a business. And still, those dreams that I thought were broken were never broken. They were just adjusted.
They were not in the right place.
Right. Correct.
All right, last question, bro. What is your favorite childhood game, bro? La traes, escondidas. Like, what is your favorite childhood game, bro?
Man.
Dodgeball.
Dang. I
Tackle
don't even know
football.
if I had any. I think cops and robbers.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool, bro.
Yeah, the cops and robbers, man. Yeah.
For sure, you're catching Chris. For sure, you're catching and me. I'm sorry, bro, and me.
Catches every one of us,
Hey,
bro.
bro, you're catching everyone, bro.
I mean, I'm not gonna be able to see you guys, but it's cool. Right.
But you sense us.
Hell yeah. Right on.
Well, Diego, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for saving us.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Because it was, just to keep it 100 with y'all, this was like total last minute. The guest that we had, he got sick.
That's
so
at
he
Chris,
couldn't
man.
Make it. So our boy Chris made it happen. We actually wanted him to get, on that chair, but we'd said that once we get to 1,000 subscribers, then we'll get Chris.
We'll get
In the
Chris.
meantime, he's incognito. The people that know him, but
Oh, we're gonna do that dating thing too, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna finding
Finding
love for Cristian Castro.
finding the rib. So
Chris got some big riz.
Diego, appreciate you, bro, for saving us and being open and sharing your story. Where can people find you real quick?
Of course, here to serve. I call myself Diego from San Diego. You can look it up on Instagram. But on Instagram, the main one is going to be coach.diegotv. And I'm always here to serve. Like I mentioned, I'm a coach, and I have a program to where we help people lose weight, count their macros, keeping them accountable, and really help them on mental, personal self-development. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Diego from San Diego, coach.diegotv.
There you go. So no excuses.
No excuses. Where there's a will, there's a way.
So that now there's no reason why we can't be in shape. So thank you very much, everybody, for tapping in to one more episode. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, drop a comment, share this, because this is something that's extremely motivating and something that we definitely have.
Been sucking it in this whole time.
We have no reason and no excuses. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. And we out. Peace.
Junior on the beat, boy. Ya estás, podcast, boy. Let's go. Ya estás, no vuelvo para atrás, libre del Alcatraz, en la guerra tengo paz. Mis metralletas es la oración y adoración, salvación para mi nación, manifestar el reino es la meta. Puesta la armadura, que las criaturas andan duras de la dimensión oscura, mi alma se apresura.